If you are gonna be a data scientist at a big tech web company, this is something you are gonna be definitely involved in, because people need to run experiments to try different things on a website and measure the results of it. And that's actually not as straightforward as most people think it is. So let's talk about A/B tests are, and what are the challenges surrounding them. So what is an A/B test? Well, it is controlled that you usually run to, I mean, it can be applied to other context as well, but usually we are talking about a website. And what we are here is test the performance of some changes to that website versus the way it was before. So you have basically a control, a set of people that see the old websites, and a test group of people that see the change to the website. And the idea is to measure the difference in behavior between these two groups and use that data to actually decide whether this change was beneficial or not. So for example, I own a business that has a website, and we license software to people, and right now I have a nice friendly orange button that people click on when they wanna buy a license. Maybe blue would be better. How do I know? I mean, intuitively, maybe that might capture people's attention more, or intuitively, maybe people are more to seeing changes like buttons, and they are more likely to click on that. I could spin that either way, so my own internal biases or perceptions don't really matter. What matters is how people actually react to this on my actual website, and that's what an A/B test does. It will actually split people up. The some people see the orange button, some people see the blue button, and I can then measure the behavior between these two groups and how they might differ, and make my decision on what color my button should be based on their data. You can test all sorts of things with an A/B test. We talked about design changes, so the color of a button, the placement of a button, the layout of a page, what have you. It might be whole UI flow, or maybe you are actually changing the way that your purchase pipeline works and how people check out on your website. You can actually measure the effect of that algorithm changes. Let's go back to the example of doing movie recommendations. Maybe I wanna test one algorithm versus another, or instead of relying on error metrics and my ability to do trend test, what I really care, what is driving purchases or rentals or whatever it is on this website. And an A/B test can maybe directly measure the impact of this algorithm on the end result that I actually care about, and not just my ability to predict that other people have already seen. Pricing changes, this one gets a little bit controversial. In theory, you can actually experiment with different price points using an A/B test and see if it actually increase volume to offset for the price difference or whatever, but use that one with question. If customer catch wind that other people are getting better prices, then they are for no good reason. They are not gonna be very happy with that. So keep in mind, doing pricing experiment can have a negative backslash, and you don't wanna be this. Anything else, you can move up to really any change that impact how users interact with your site is worth testing. Maybe it's even making the website faster, or it could be anything. So the first thing you need to figure out when you are designing an experiment on a website is what are you trying to optimize for? What is that you really want to drive with this change? And this is not always a very obvious thing, right? Maybe it is the amount of that people spend, the amount of revenue. Okay, well, we talked about the problems with variance in using amount spent, but if you have enough data, you can still reach convergence on that metric at a lot of times. But maybe that's not what you actually want to optimize for. Maybe you are actually selling some items at a loss intentionally just to capture your market share, or there's more complexity that goes into your pricing strategy than just top line revenue. Maybe what you have done, uh, that can be a very tricky things, because a lot of things cut into how much money a given product might make, and those things might not always be obvious. And again, if you have loss leaders, this experiment will discount the effect that those are supposed to have. Bottom line, you have to talk to the business owners of the area that's being tested and figure out what it is they are trying to optimize, what are they being measured on, what is their success measured on, what are their key performance indicators, or whatever the MBAs wanna call it, and that actually matter to them. Okay, maybe you just care about driving ad clicks on your website or order quantities to reduce variance. Maybe people are okay with that, and you can measure more than one thing at once too. You don't have to pick one. You can actually on the effect of many different things: revenue, profit, clicks, views of a websites. And if these things are all moving in the right direction together, that's a very strong sign that this change had a positive impact in more ways than one, right? So why limit yourself to one metric? Just make sure you know which one matters the most and what's gonna be your criteria for success of this experiment ahead of time. Another thing to watch out for is attributing convergence to a change downstream. If the action you are trying to drive does not happen apparently upon the user experiencing the thing that you are testing, things get a little bit dodgy. Let's say I change the color of the button on page A, the user then goes to page B and does something else, and ultimately buys something from page C. Well, who gets credit for that purchase? Is it page A or page B or something in between? Do I discount the credit for that conversion? Depending on how many clicks that person took to get to the conversion action, do I just discard any conversion action that does not happen immediately after seeing that change? These are complicated things. It is very easy to produce misleading results by flashing how you account for these two different distances between the conversion and the change that you are measuring. So keep that in mind too. Another thing that you need to really internalize is that variance is your enemy when you are running an A/B test. A very common mistake people make who don't know what they are doing with data is they will put up a test on a web page, but blue button versus orange button, whatever it is, run it for a week and take the mean amount spent from each of those groups, and then they say, oh look, the people with the blue button on average spent $1 more than the people with the orange button. Blue is awesome, I love blue, I'm gonna put blue all over the website now. But in fact all they might have was just random variation in purchases. They did not have a big enough sample, because people don't tend to purchase a lot. You get a lot of things, but you probably don't on your website in comparison. There is probably a lot of accounts variations because different product cost different amount. So you could very easily end up making the wrong decision that ends up costing your company money instead of earning your company. If you don't understand the effect of variance on these results, shortly we have talked about some principal ways of measuring and accounting for that. You need to make sure that your business owners, and this is an important thing that you need to quantify and understand before making business decision following an A/B test or any experiment that you run on the web. Now sometimes you need to choose a conversion metric that has less variance. It could be that the numbers on your website just mean that you would have to run an experiment for years in order to get a significant result based on something like revenue or amount spent. So sometimes if you are looking at more than one metric like order amount, order quantity, that has less variance associated with it, so you might see a signal on order quantity before you see a signal on revenue, for example. And at the end of the day, it ends up being a judgment call. If you see a significant lift in order quantities and maybe a not so significant lift in revenue, then you have to say, well, I think there might be something real that's beneficial going on here. But at the end of the day, the only thing that statistics and data science can tell you are probabilities that an effect is real. It's really up to you to decide whether or not it's real at the end of the day. So let's talk about how to do this in more detail.